A last stand is a general military situation in which a body of troops holds a defensive position in the face of overwhelming odds. The defensive force usually takes very heavy casualties or is completely destroyed, as happened at Thermopylae in 480 BC, fall of Constantinople in 1453, Battle of Waterloo in 1815, or Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876. Tactical significance. A last stand is a last resort tactic, and is chosen because the defending force realizes the benefits of fighting outweigh the benefits of retreat or surrender. This usually arises from strategic moral considerations, leading defenders to conclude that the sacrifice is essential to the greater success of the campaign or cause, as happened at the end of the Battle of Thermopylae. The situation can arise in several ways. One situation is that retreat by the defending force would lead to immediate defeat, usually due to the surrounding geography or shortage of supplies or support, as happened to the Royalist infantry on Waterloo Hill after the Battle of Naseby. Specifically, defeat or withdrawal by the defending force may give the attacking force a point of utmost tactical importance, making it imperative that the defending force hold its position at all costs. The historian Brian Perrett suggests that although the majority of last stands throughout history have seen the defending force overwhelmed, on rare occasions the outnumbered defenders succeed in their desperate endeavors and live to fight another day, and he lists the Battle of Agincourt and the Battle of Rorke's Drift as such engagements. Another example could be the Battle of Myongnyang, where 13 Joseon Navy warships defeated 133 Japanese warships, as well as battles such as Siege of the International Legations, the Battle off Samar and the raid on Godfrey Ranch. In some cases, troops will make a last stand to protect the ruler or leader. When Rome was attacked in 1527 by the army of the Holy Roman Empire under Emperor Charles V, over 20,000 troops stormed the city. The 189 Swiss Guards made a last stand against the massive army by forming a square around St. Peter's Basilica to give Pope Clement time to escape through secret tunnels. The Swiss Guard held the doors until Clement could escape. In the Battle of Hastings in 1066, Saxon King Harold II battled the Norman William the Conqueror, who invaded with 7,000 men. After the most of the Saxons were killed in the battle, Harold and his housecarl bodyguard fought on until an arrow struck the king in the eye. Quote, after Harold died, the housecarl bodyguard made a last stand and fought to the death around the body of their dead king. The French Foreign Legion became known for its last stand in the 1863 Battle of Cameron. During the battle, 65 Foreign Legion troops protecting a supply convoy carrying gold bullion, siege guns and ammunition were attacked by a Mexican force of 3,000 soldiers. The Foreign Legion troops fought their way to a building, which they used as a defensive position for the last stand. They refused to surrender, and fought until almost all of the Legion troops were killed. When only a handful of troops were still alive, with no ammunition left, they conducted a bayonet charge at the much larger Mexican force. April 30th is called Cameron Day in France to remember this day, and the last stand is a celebrated part of the French Foreign Legion's history. Sometimes, rather than face annihilation at the hands of a pursuing victorious army, a rearguard will be tasked by the commander of the defeated army with hindering the advance of the victorious army. Even if the rearguard is destroyed in a last stand, its sacrifice may buy the commander time to disengage without losing the majority of his army, as happened during the Battle of Roncesvalles Pass, Battle of Stamford Bridge, and the Dunkirk evacuation. A last stand may also be the last pitched battle of the war where the position of the defending force is hopeless but the defending force considers it their duty not to surrender until forced to do so, as happened to the last Royalist field army of the First English Civil War at the Battle of Stow on the Wold. At the end of a siege may lead to a last stand by the defenders. Last stands at the end of sieges became less common after the Hague Conventions came in force. Before the 20th century, if a besieged garrison refused any offered terms of surrender and the attackers subsequently breached the defenses, the defenders were only given quarter at the discretion of the attackers, something they were not likely to do if they perceived that by holding out, with no hope of relief, the defenders had needlessly squandered lives. Under the laws of war as they are now, it is especially forbidden, to kill or wound an enemy who, having laid down his arms, or having no longer means of defense, has surrendered at discretion, to declare that no quarter will be given, It is unlawful for an attacking force to kill a garrison if they attempt to surrender even if it is during the final assault on a fortified position. Historical significance. Last stands loom large in history due to the pull on popular imagination. Historian Nathaniel Philbrick argues, long before Custer died at the Little Bighorn, the myth of the last stand already had a strong pull on human emotions, and on the way we like to remember history. The variations are endless, from the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae to Davy Crockett at the Alamo, but they all tell the story of a brave and intractable hero leading his tiny band against a numberless foe. Even though the odds are overwhelming, the hero and his followers fight on nobly to the end and are slaughtered to a man. In defeat, the hero of the last stand achieves the greatest of victories, since he will be remembered for all time.